Hey people, it's part 5 of New Comics, bitches! Okay. Uh, so my other two books of the week um, are these are kind of in ascending order. Fear Itself, book 3 would be number 3 of my third choice of book of the week. And this is number 2. And it's ironic because I didn't actually get these in my pull box at first because because of the holiday week, everything was kind of screwed up. So I didn't even get most of my comics until late Wednesday. But I had to go back to the comic store to get these because they forgot to put them in my pull box and I didn't check before I left. So. Secret 6, number 34. It's an awesome cover. The covers that this person does for this comic, the VC, are always awesome. I love the cover art to every issue of Secret 6. So again, we're getting back to, as I've said repeatedly, my favorite team book that DC is putting out. And slowly is becoming maybe my favorite team book ever that DC has put out. There's never been a bad issue of Secret 6. They're almost always of superior quality. Gail Simone just knocks it out of the fucking park almost every issue. And this issue is absolutely no exception. Since it all started in Villains United way back in 2005, with the 6-issue miniseries there, and then they did a Secret 6-issue miniseries that followed, and then finally they had the good sense to make Secret 6 a continuing comic. So in this issue, we've got a lot going on. Liana, the stripper slash sex worker, that is in love with Scandal, is being tortured by this lunatic who is trying to absolve her of sin and trying to redeem her and everything like that, and he's just doing all this horrible, awful shit to her. Well, his time is pretty much run out. Because once they got back from hell, once the 6 got back from hell, well, basically they tracked down this guy, and they give him, they basically make him a deal. It's Jeanette and Bane and Catman and Deadshot and Scandal are all there, basically saying, if you can make it the 10 to 12 feet to your car, we'll let you go. But you just have to get through us first. So believe me when I say that this guy gets pretty much his just desserts in this issue, because there's never a moment in the Secret 6 that feels false. There's never a moment where you say, you know what, yeah, these guys might do the decent, kind of human thing. Which is not to say that they don't do that from time to time, but they will take moments where, it's interesting, they'll take moments where you feel like, okay, well, they probably, you would assume that, okay, yeah, they'll probably do the thing that's asked of them, the good thing that's asked of them, and then they'll totally not. And then there'll be moments where it's like, oh yeah, well, they're totally going to go to town on these people and they're going to kill everybody, and then they don't, and they end up doing a good thing. It's just tremendous, and Scandal has her moment, and a beautiful moment that is punctuated by Jeanette actually singing a kind of an Irish lullaby to Leanna as they're kind of getting her away from the mess of everything. Um, and and Scandal says to these three men that are with her, to Deadshot and Catman and Bane, she says, would one of you, the three men I love, the only men I love, please hold me for a moment. I think I'm going to cry. And it's a beautiful, honest moment of this character and of these characters. But then it gets past some of that, and then it goes back right into the crazy, which is where you get King Shark. King Shark is just such an awesome character. She just does wonderful stuff with him. But then of course there's the big question that's the elephant in the room, so to speak, is okay. Well, what are we going to do with with Ragdoll, since he did the whole thing by going to hell? Maybe he's not such a good thing, but also in the understanding that they're probably all going to hell anyway. So it's just kind of a live for today type of thing, not really seek out redemption actively, but to just do what they feel is right. And then, of course, the elephant in the room being, now that they rescued Leanna and also went to hell to rescue Knockout, who is Scandal going to choose? Will she choose her first love or this new love? That's where it's going to get kind of interesting and probably pretty screwed up. And of course, the biggest brilliance in this particular issue is the date. I'm not even going to say anything about it, but it's a date where Bane basically goes on a date with one of Liana's friends, and there's magic. And that's in that particular in the B story, if you will. Just another superb issue of Secret Six. Gail Simone has my almost undying devotion here. I don't collect Birds of Prey. I really feel that I should start. I should go back and get some Birds of Prey stuff, because if it's half as good as this stuff is, then it's fucking magic. So now moving on to Book of the Week. And I'm happy to say that for the first time in a while, maybe not so long, but it seems longer, that Ed Brubaker has his name on my pick of the week. This #1 pick of the week. And it is Criminal, The Last of the Innocent, #1. So this is yet another, a new arc of the Criminal saga of Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I don't even know I don't even know if there's a way to talk about this in a way that just doesn't really. I don't think a description of this comic will do it justice. So I'm not going to get too much into the plot, but it, obviously, it does have to do with, the Hyde family. They're obviously big players in the Criminal saga, and it's about basically a man who goes home with his two-timing wife, who goes back to the small town that he grew up in, to visit his dying father. And The Last of the Innocent is an extremely telling idea. It's an extremely telling title of this particular arc, because It's about, innocence really, really gone, really lost. Um, and obviously Phillips does an incredibly knockout job on the art in this issue. Um, Ed Brubaker does some really nice stuff at the end of, each issue of Criminal. He'll talk about what he's done. He'll talk about things that he's into, TV series or movies that he's recently seen or whatever that he's into that have to do with, kind of the crime fiction genre. But he also goes on to tell that this is his most personal tale of the Criminal saga. And you can really kind of tell because this has the art style switches from, Sean Phillips' very dark, kind of, pseudo, photorealistic art to like this almost kind of like Archie Comics art. Where he's talking about the past. He's talking about his friends from this small town that he grew up in, and also about even his wife. And it's just, this is the stuff now. Okay, as a budding writer, a while ago, before I started college. A friend of mine got me really into the work of Jim Thompson. If you're not familiar with who Jim Thompson is, you might have seen maybe one of the films that is based on his work, such as The Grifters, which is a brilliant movie, both incarnations of The Getaway, one with the Sam Peckinpah version and the more recent version with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger, neither of which I really particularly care for, but the Peckinpah version is far superior to the newer one. But he also did, he's one of my favorite writers of all time. And he kind of, he was the quintessential nihilistic noir writer. None of his books ended happily. Actually, the most recent film of his work was a really poor adaptation of one of his best books, which is The Killer Inside Me, which featured Casey Affleck and Jessica Alba and Kate Hudson, and it was just, with the exception of Casey Affleck being brilliant, it was a bad movie. But like I said, nihilistic noir is really kind of where it's at for me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love some of the, like Dashiell Hammett and James Cain stories. Some of the other, kind of, noir pulp writers of, the 30s and 40s. Raymond Chandler, of course. But Jim Thompson has always been right up there because his stuff just, it just bashes you over the fucking head. And you cannot forget some of the stuff, when you read his stuff, you can't forget it. You'll never forget it. If you have some time, go out to your local library or go to Amazon or whatever, buy a copy of the book A Hell of a Woman. It's one of the greatest books ever written. It's my second favorite book of all time. And it's absolutely brilliant. And I think the universe that Criminal exists in is an offshoot of Jim Thompson's universe. Because this is a hard-boiled, very nihilistic universe. Nobody gets out unscathed. Even if they get out alive, they don't get out unscathed. There is still a very deep scar on their soul and on their psyche. And this issue of Criminal absolutely reflects that. So that's it for the Shadow Gallery for this week. Like me, don't like me, comment, See you later. Love you all.